Shalom, shalom to the family. Street baptism back with more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we believe comes directly from the Father through his Son, Salak. Man, through his Son, Yeshua or Yahusha or Yahushua Mashiach, whichever pronunciation somebody decides to use is all right, as long as you call it on the Father or the Creator, in the name of his only begotten. Praise Yah, and that's according to his word. Much love to the family trying to follow in his footsteps in truth and sincerity by way of humility. We gonna get into it. This is the last, I believe it's the last of the primary sources that somebody who wants to know about the Father in a more basic manner or practical manner, the last of the 7 sources that somebody of that sort can grab to make it easier for them to learn about the Father. I did a video on this channel, the first video I actually uploaded concerning different study tools, and I believe again this is the last one that I have to go through. Even though I didn't go in order, I believe this is the last of the 7. So we're going to get right into it. Biblical Apocrypha. I typed here in my search engine, what is the Apocrypha? It says the Biblical Apocrypha denotes the collection of apocryphal ancient books thought to have been written sometime between 200 BC or before Common Era and AD 400 or Anno Domini or Common Era, which is CE 400. So that's about 201, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about a 600 year time span, or about 600 years in a dispensation of time. It says some Christian churches include some or all of the same texts within the body of their version of the Old Testament, terming them deuterocanonical books. So let's look up this word real quick. We're gonna look up this word Apocrypha and see what it means. And y'all, one thing we got to keep in mind, we source everything. Everything has to be sourced. Every single thing. What's going on here? Did I spell this wrong? I spelled it wrong? Oh, here we go. Yeah, I was spelling it wrong. So it says here that Apocrypha is a noun from the late 14th century, Apocrypha, in reference to the apocryphal books of the Bible, from late Latin Apocrypha, scripta, is related to scripta. It says from neuter plural of apocryphus, also a Latin word, secret or not approved for public reading. That's the sense of this word in the Latin. It says from a Greek word, Apochryphos. It says hidden, obscure, hard to understand. Thus, meaning books of unknown authorship, especially those included in the Septuagint and Vulgate, that which is the Latin Vulgate, but not originally written in Hebrew and not counted as genuine by the Jews, which is from apo, which means off or away, plus krypton, which means to hide, or crypt, which is like related to the word encrypted, or if y'all ever heard of the crypt keeper. So it has to do with something secret or hidden. So they're saying that this word or these books, because this is the point with this word, these books that they deemed apocryphal based on the meaning of this word. Let's see real quick. Where do we want to go? I guess we can do this. We can go here. Okay. It says, and this is Wikipedia, by the way, wikipedia.org. It says some Christian churches include some or all of the text. Whoopty-wham, we read that. It says traditional 80-book Protestant Bibles include 14 books in an intertestamental section between the Old Testament and New Testament called the Apocrypha, deeming these useful for instruction but non-canonical. Now, canon, because we just read non-canonical and we read deuterocanonical. So what does this word canon mean? That's what we want to look up. Now, canon, right? Canon, in the first noun, it means a rule or law. From the Old English word canon, which means, or canon, which means rule, law, or decree of the church. From Old French canon, which is from late Latin canon, which means church law. A rule or doctrine enacted by ecclesiastical or called out church authority. It says in classical Latin, it means measuring line or rule, from the Greek Canon, Canon or Canon, which means any straight rod or bar, rule, standard of excellence. Maybe from Canon, which means a reed, related to the word cane. Praise God. Words are beautiful. With this being said, canon, or what is canon, is a reference to, for example, the books that we have in our, if you're a Protestant, the 66 books that you have in your quote unquote Protestant Bible, and that's related to Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation. They have, let's see, let's actually look into it real quick. Hold on. We're gonna look into it real quick. We're gonna type in what's going on here. Okay. Forgive me, y'all. We're gonna type in Catholic Canon. Catholic Canon books. That's what we want to type in. I'm loving that beat, man. Okay, Catholic Bible, Wikipedia.org. Here we go, back to Wikipedia. A Catholic Bible is a Christian Bible, quote unquote, that includes the whole 73 book canon recognized by the Catholic Church, including the Deuterocanon. Deuterocanon is secondary canon. Let's look at that real quick. The deuterocanonical books, from the Greek meaning belonging to the second canon, that's what this word means in Greek, are books and passages considered by the Catholic Church, the Eastern Orthodox Church, the Oriental Orthodox Churches, and the Assyrian Church of the East to be canonical books of the Old Testament, but which Protestant denominations regard as Apocrypha. And that's why there are 66 books in a standard Protestant Bible. But why does it say this Catholic Bible has 73 books and not 66 like the Protestant Bible? Let's look. It says the books included the Pentateuch. The Pentateuch is the same as the Torah, just in Greek, the first 5 books. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Then you got historical books, Joshua, Judges, Ruth. We know about those being in the Protestant Bible. It says here, though, it says Tobit, Judith, Esther, 1st and 2nd Maccabees. Esther is in the standard Protestant Bible, but not 1st, 2nd Maccabees, Tobit, and Judith. That's interesting. Wisdom books. We know about Job, Psalms, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs, or Songs of Solomon, or Song of Solomon. But here we see Wisdom of Solomon. We see Sirach, which is also known as Ecclesiasticus, or Ben Sirah. Prophetic books. Praise God. We see here Jeremiah, Lamentations, Jonah, Micah, but you can also see Baruch right there. This is a 73 book canon. This is a Catholic Bible. But now here's the Deuterocanon. Because they put it together in a Deuterocanon. So we're going to read all these together. Tobit, Judith, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, Wisdom, Sirach, Baruch, and additions to Esther, which is also known as its own book, and Daniel are the deuterocanonical books of the Bible. Praise God. And then when you look at the New Testament, these books in the New Testament are the normal 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, the normal 27. The normal 27 New Testament canon. Now that's interesting, right? So let's do this real quick. Let's look at the Eastern Orthodox Church and their canon. Because see, what this means is these different groups of quote unquote Christians at different times in history decided we gonna accept these books and we not gonna accept these. And some other groups said, yeah, well, we gonna accept these with y'all, but we not gonna accept these or these. And it was like that. And that's how these, that's related to how these denominations start spurring up and coming about in the earth, claiming they teachings was based on the Bible, even though we know that's not true. Let's read this. Well, actually, let me go back. Forgive me, y'all. Let's look at this real quick. So the Catholic Bible is 73 books. Eastern Orthodox Canon Bible books. Eastern Orthodox Bible books. Let's look at this. The Eastern Eastern Greek Orthodox Bible, or the EOB, is an incomplete English language edition of the Bible published and controlled by Greek Orthodox Christians. Hold on, wait. Because let's just do this. Let's see. Nope. They're not even telling us what we want to know. Let's not even waste time. Well, we can skip over that and do this. Ethiopian Church Canon. Hold on. Ethiopian Canon books. Let's look that up. It says the Orthodox Tawahedo Biblical Canon. This is Wikipedia again. The Orthodox Tawahedo Biblical Canon is a version of the Christian Bible, quote unquote, used in the two Oriental Orthodox churches of the Ethiopian and Eritrean traditions. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tawahedo Church and the Eritrean Orthodox Tawahedo Church. At 81 books, it is the largest and most diverse biblical canon in traditional Christendom, meaning the mass of people who claim that their teachings are based on the Bible and that they are Christians. Now, let's read this. Here's the list of books. Here's the canon, or what they deemed rule or law, meaning directly from God as concerning how to live on the earth, how to please him, what to and not to do. So we see Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. That's the Torah. Joshua, Judges, Ruth. We see all these books, but now we see Jubilees. But here with Second Chronicles, we see Prayer of Manasseh too, and that's with Second Chronicles because this King Manasseh, his telling, or his chronicle was told in Second Chronicles chapter 33, if I'm not mistaken. So we see that Prayer of Manasseh, Jubilees, Enoch. They accept Enoch. First Ezra, Second Ezra, Ezra Sutuel, whoever that is or whatever that book is about. It says Tobit, Judith. First, Second, and Third Maccabean, similarly named but not the same as the 4 Greek books, or really the 5 of the Maccabees. So just because Maccabean sounds like Maccabees doesn't mean it's the same. That those are different books. The book of Masaleh, or Mishlei in the Hebrew, Proverbs, but it's 2 books of Proverbs. They split this up in the Orthodox Tawahedo Church Biblical Canon. The Taxos is the second part of that book, or the second book that they split up. What else do we see? Baruch, we got 4th Baruch, letter of Jeremiah, which in some books, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's called the Epistle of Jeremy, and it's Baruch chapter 6 in some books, or even on some apps, maybe if you download them on your phone. What else we have here? Sirach, Josephon, and then we got the normal 27 New Testament book canon, along with, Synodos, whatever that is, First and Second Covenant, Ethiopic Clement, and Ethiopic Didaskalia, or Didaskalia. Now, this is, again, Orthodox Tawahedo Biblical Canon. So now, what do we want to look at? We're going to go here. I believe we was already here. We're going to go back here. Biblical Apocrypha. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. So when you talk about Apocrypha, the Apocrypha that most people grab, or that I've seen, is this one. And this is Amazon.com here. This Apocrypha, the hardcover, is $11. Might be like 16 or 17. You can order it. This is a very important book. Because books in here are noted as canon. They're noted as canon. Now let's read the description. It says product description. The King James Version Apocrypha in a single volume. The Apocrypha hidden things are contemporaneous with the Old Testament, meaning around the time that the Apocrypha was being written out, or the tellings in the Apocrypha are around the same time as the tellings or the chronicles or the stories of the quote unquote Old Testament. It says they're contemporaneous with the Old Testament for that reason, but we're not officially accepted as part of the Bible when the Hebrew canon was set. Now they saying that, but that's based on the modern understanding of Catholicism and Christianity. It says they did, however, form part of the Greek scriptures and came into English Bibles by that route. The writings of the Apocrypha run the whole gamut of literary genres: histories, romances, devotional works, proverbs, and sermons. Many complement parts of the Old Testament, and readers will recognize some familiar biblical characters in the narrative, such as Daniel and Esther. Now, this is what we want to do, and this gives you more information about it. Who published it? The University of Cambridge, which is in Europe, or in Great Britain to be more specific. Now, this is what we're gonna do, right? We're going to look at the books in the Apocrypha. But it's important to note that this is a book of books. Books of the Apocrypha. Because this is what we want to look at. We just want to go right here. No. This gives you information about who decided to include it in their Bible and their translation, including the Gutenberg Bible, the Luther Bible, Martin Luther Bible, the Clementine Vulgate, and the King James Version. Now, we're going to read this because we looked at the King James Version. That's another source on that 7 list of sources. Praise God. So it says the King James Version, the English language King James Version of 1611 followed the lead of the Luther Bible in using an intertestamental section labeled Books called Apocrypha, or just Apocrypha, at the running page header. The King James Version followed the Geneva Bible of 1560 most exactly. Variations are marked below. The section contains the following: First Esdras, which in the Vulgate is Third Esdras; Second Esdras, which is in the Vulgate Fourth Esdras; Tobit, Judith; Rest of Esther, or Editions of Esther; Wisdom of Solomon, that's what that is; Ecclesiasticus; Baruch, which has the Epistle of Jeremy at the end, or chapter 6 of Baruch, as I just said; Song of the Three Holy Children, which is also known as the Prayer of Azarias in the Vulgate. Now, mind y'all, in the Vulgate, the Latin Vulgate is in Daniel 3:24 through 90. The rest of Esther in the Vulgate is Esther 10:4 through 16 and 24. It says the story of Susanna, or the history of Susanna. That's Daniel chapter 13. The idol Bel and the dragon in the Vulgate is Daniel 14. Now, why is that there? Why is the rest of Esther 10:4 through 16 and 24 in the Vulgate? It says prayer of Manasseh, 1st and 2nd Maccabees. Now, these are the books of the Apocrypha. These are the books that they placed in the Apocrypha, but mind y'all, they placed them in between the Old and New Testament. Why would they do that? These books really don't go in between the Old and New Testament. Let's look at that. Let's see what that means. Let's prove that. The narrative of Bel and the Dragon is incorporated as chapter 14 of the extended book of Daniel. The original Septuagint text in Greek survives in a single manuscript, because this is also in the Septuagint. If you haven't checked out that video concerning the Septuagint on this channel, check that video out. It says Codex Chisianus, while the standard text is due to Theodotion, the 2nd century ad reviser. Now listen, this book is about Daniel and his encounter between these people in Babylon and their idols, including the king at that time. So this book belongs with the book of Daniel. And if you buy this Apocrypha that I just went and looked at on Amazon, and you read the heading and the title, it's going to tell you exactly where it goes. Praise God. So this is 2 proofs, because it's in the Vulgate. And let's look at the Vulgate real quick. Because we want to see what that is. And Jerome is venerated, meaning he's respected as far as church history is concerned, or biblical history. It says the Vulgate is the late 4th century, meaning 350 in between 400 AD. Late century Latin translation of the Bible. The Vulgate is largely the work of St. Jerome, who in 382 had been commissioned by Pope Damasus I to revise the Vetus Latina Gospels used by the Roman Church. So this individual, and you can look into Jerome or Saint Jerome and who he was and who he did. This video is not for that, but the point being, this is a beautiful another beautiful proof, besides buying the Apocrypha and reading the heading, that certain of these books, even though they placed them, my fault, in between the Old and New Testament, that's not really where they go. Praise God. Because Daniel and his story was around the time of the Babylonian and the Persian empires. So we talking about at least 350, 400 years before the Messiah comes on the scene. Now, you got Malachi and then you got Matthew. Malachi prophesied in between 350 or 400 and 350 BC. So that's 400 years right there in between Malachi and Daniel, if you will, in the time of Christ. So that means that if you got Maccabees, if y'all following me, Maccabees is about the history in between the time period of 200 up until the time of Christ. 200 years up until the time of Christ. So how can Maccabees be in the same book called the Apocrypha with stories like the history of Susanna, Bel and the Dragon? What's another one? The Song of the Three Holy Children. That's about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's prayer in the fiery furnace. We know this in the book of Daniel. These are proofs that show that these books don't necessarily go in between the Old and New Testament. They were just placed there. But with that being said, there's a greater takeaway. Just because they place these books together and call these books Apocrypha don't mean that we're supposed to accept all these books. If they contradict the biblical narrative and the essence of the Bible and what the Most High teaches, the basics or the foundational principles of the word, then we throw them out. So what y'all can do in y'all own time is look more into this. We're going to be talking about more of this on this channel because we love going into all of this information. Biblical history at any point, at any time, we love going into it. And we're going to talk more about these things. But this is another beautiful source to get. For now, grab it. I'm not going to place any stumbling blocks in front of anybody saying what I believe specifically. This video is not for that. But I just wanted to get some information and some history concerning the Apocrypha and some other things as we brought out in this video. With that being said, much love to the family. Street baptism out. Shalom. Shalom.